Hello and happy first day of fall. I'm loving the sweater weather. As you can see, I'm outside in my yard, thoroughly enjoying it. It's great. I wanted to hop on and just take a minute to talk a little about the idea of guarantees. I think this is a topic that's particularly necessary to dive into, especially for someone like myself who's in marketing. It's something we run into all the time. People asking me, people asking my colleagues, what kind of guarantee can you provide me? And I had this just the other day. A gentleman I was engaging with wanted a guarantee, and I don't fault anyone for feeling that way. If I if I could buy the winning lottery ticket every single time, I'd be thrilled. That'd be awesome. But I told him, and I will share with you what I shared with him is, unfortunately, in life, there are no guarantees. And especially in the world of marketing, that is the unfortunate bad news. However, there is some good news, and that is the thing that I want to share with you today. And it comes in the form of a little bit of a roundabout story, and hopefully in a way that will help explain my personal stance on why I don't offer guarantees. My personal stance is that anyone who is selling you their services in the marketing industry and making a promise to you about a specific outcome is full of it. Censoring myself because honestly, the only person in a marketing space who can make any guarantees is the person buying your product or the person who controls the platform on which you are marketing. So if I'm not buying your product, I can't guarantee any particular sales. And I'm not Mark Zuckerberg, so I can't make any promises about what he's going to do. I mean, he could shut down Facebook tomorrow. And I get it. It's a very unsettling thing. And this particular gentleman I was speaking with, he was lovely. He was truly lovely. And I could tell he'd been in the industry for a while. He was referencing even going so far back as to when he would advertise in the Yellow Pages and how effective that was for him. I mean, that's quite some time ago, and that's awesome. And the world is changing, and so we are now in an era where online marketing is what you have to do. But if that's something that you've never done before, oh my word, yes, that's terrifying. And of course, all of the alarm systems inside our brain and our body go off because our bodies are designed to keep us safe, and anything that's new is perceived as a threat. And so this new venture in any business, for any business owner, is going to just feel overwhelming and foreign and terrifying. And the parallel that I draw with it, just based on my personal experience, is I have a very, very small background in scuba diving, believe it or not. Mostly because my husband's a scuba diver and he got me into it. And so the world of online marketing compared to how marketing used to be is so different that it's equated to the difference between living and walking on the earth and suddenly immersing yourself in that foreign world where you can't see up versus down. You're not sure if you're headed east, west, north, south. Like you lose all sense. Like all of your frames of reference are totally changed around, and it's scary because it's like, what's underneath me? I mean, one time I almost landed on a stingray because it was underneath the ground. I was like, oh my word, I don't just have to be afraid of sharks and eels coming at me from right, left, above, and in front. Like, I have to worry about what's underneath me too. That's just kind of terrifying. And I've adopted my personal approach when it comes to guarantees. I promise you it does. I'll circle back. I've come to adopt my personal approach on guarantees based off of my very first diving experience, because even though I so badly wanted to do it, I was newly married, we were on our honeymoon, and my husband wanted me to do this thing, and so I went through the training, and I'm even having just a little anxiety thinking about it now because it was so foreign, and I just felt so insecure in that context. And before I went on my very first open dive, I'd done all the trainings, I'd done the pool dives, I'd practiced, and we were ready to go out for the very, very first time. And I was actually paired with the instructor because he could tell I was just that scared. And before we were about to get off the boat, I looked at him and I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. Promise me I'm not going to drown. Promise me that I'm not going to, that I'm not, my gear isn't going to fail. Promise me that I'm going to make it out of this alive. It is the very first time I've come close to having anything like an anxiety attack. And I don't say that to minimize, or I don't know. I think you get the idea. That's just to illustrate the seriousness of it. I genuinely was feeling that much terror in my body that I was frozen with fear. And he looked at me, and for all of the promises I was begging him for, he just looked at me and he just breathed calmly, and he was like, "Hey, did you go through the trainings?" I was like, "Yes." He's like, "Did you pass the trainings?" "Yes." He's like, "Okay, did you go through your gear checks?" And he started going through this series of questions with me and just calmly walking me through the steps. And the very last, did you check your oxygen levels? "Yes, I did." "Did you checked your regulator, you checked your gear, you checked the lines, everything's set?" I'm like, yes, check. And at the very, very end, he's like, "Okay, do you have your buddy?" Which was him. And sorry, not to shake. And I was like, yeah, I have my buddy. And he's like, "Well, do you trust your buddy?" And I was like, yep, I do. And in that moment, I didn't recognize it in the moment. It wasn't until I was reflecting long after that I realized he didn't actually make me any promises because he couldn't. Like, there was no guarantee on his part that I wasn't gonna freeze in anxiety and drown. Like, what a terrifying thought on his part. But he'd been doing this for years and years and years, and I was able to borrow his confidence and his security and his leadership and his knowledge and expertise. And I was able to be calmed and encouraged to take that leap and to dive in because I knew I was with someone who knew where they were going and who knew what they were doing. And so I draw on that analogy with the whole marketing strategy piece because I think it's so very similar. It's such a foreign world. It's so terrifying. It really is a big risk for so many people. It's a much more necessary risk as a business owner than recreational scuba diving by all means. But I think it's a helpful parallel to recognize, like, even in that context, for something that's so simple and, arguably unnecessary as a recreational sport, even in that, there are no guarantees. However, the guarantee that's not really what we're looking for. That's not really what our clients are looking for. And so when I encounter someone who is asking me for that promise, I take the same approach. And, I'm very honest, and I just say, you know what, I can't make any black and white promises as to the results, but here's what I can promise you. I can promise you that I know what I'm doing. I can promise you that I've navigated these waters. And I can promise you that I'm going to stick by you every step of the way because I want to see you succeed. I don't want to see you fail. I don't want to see you drown. That's not fun for me either. So, so that's the approach that I take, is that, I'm motivated to make sure that the people I work with are successful and find the results that they want and get the outcomes that they need and are fighting for. And that's the guarantee that I make, even though I can't promise black and white outcomes. I wish I could, but I'm no genie in a bottle. But definitely my guarantee is always to partner diligently like a business partner, work closely, hand in hand, side by side, answer whatever questions come my way. And if for some reason I don't know the answer, figure it out. So those are my thoughts. I don't know if you have anything to add, questions or thoughts, please feel free to comment. I hope this was insightful and maybe helpful for some of you who encounter similar matters regarding promises that we can't ethically make. So I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.